Well, Congressman, a real pleasure to have you on the show, sir. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Great to be with you. Thanks so much.
You bet. Now, I understand yesterday you sent a letter to Attorney General Eric Holder. What exactly did you have to ask and to say to the Attorney General?
I asked him to resign immediately. I did send him a letter. A couple members of Congress have verbally opined on this. I just felt I wanted to put something in writing and ask him to resign. We need to find out when it comes to this Operation Fast and Furious what he knew and when and all those good, important answers. But here's where we're at right now. We have a program, a government operation run by the Department of Justice that sent at least 2,000 guns, instructed federally licensed firearm dealers to basically sell 2,000 guns to Mexican drug cartels, which resulted in over 100 deaths, including 2 federal agents. It was an ill-conceived operation, the execution of which was handled miserably and blew up. So just on the basis of those 2 facts that we know, he's got to be held accountable.
You know, you write in your letter that you raised this because Operation Fast and Furious, if the facts of this case had not come to light, would have been used by this administration as another false argument to attack law-abiding gun owners. And when you think back about what this administration was actually saying about our gun laws and about gun owners while this was going on, they tried to peddle the myth of the 90% of the guns, they said, recovered in Mexico and traced back to the United States. Of course, as it turns out, Mexico doesn't submit most of the guns for tracing because they know they're not from here.
Right.
We heard Eric Holder very early on in the administration, a call for a renewal of the semi-auto ban that had expired in 2004. It seems like this administration was pushing this line that our laws needed to change because of the violence in Mexico, while they were actually putting guns in the hands of cartel members in Mexico.
This is my biggest fear, and this would be the most scandalous aspect of this entire thing. We know no one to date has given us a valid explanation as to the purpose of Fast and Furious. You combine that with the fact that we know this is the most anti-gun president and administration in my lifetime, you really begin to wonder, and as you spell out so articulately, the public stances this administration was taking on guns the last couple of years, it seems pretty clear to me that this was sort of a clandestine effort to vilify and attack gun owners and gun dealers in this country because this administration is so anti-gun.
We've seen from the get-go, we know President Obama's record as a U.S. senator, as a state senator, and as a candidate for Congress back in the late 1990s. He's never been one who's, expressed a great deal of support for the Second Amendment. And, again, Attorney General Holder, just a few weeks into the administration, pushing for a ban on millions of firearms that are commonly owned across this country. And you say in your letter that the Attorney General's unwillingness to cooperate with the ongoing House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform's investigation suggests that there are facts you prefer Americans not to know. And you point out that Attorney General Holder said he wasn't aware of Fast and Furious until a few weeks before he appeared before the committee on May the 3rd, even though President Obama said unequivocally back in early March that he didn't authorize Fast and Furious, the Attorney General didn't authorize Fast and Furious. So how the president know if he hadn't talked to Eric Holder about it?
There are statements and emails here that are very troubling and are very contradictory. I mean, basically, the president and Holder are both saying they weren't aware of this program until after it was stopped, and yet we've already seen communications, emails, memos, numbering 6 to 7 that were sent to him that he received prior to July 2010. And again, that's all important, and that needs to be investigated. And I know that our Committee on Oversight and Reform is going to continue to investigate this. what I find most troubling is you've got the most anti-gun administration in years who conceived of this plan. I mean, think about it. This anti-gun administration, why in God's name would they force licensed firearm dealers to sell guns to violent criminals? I just, their motive, and I keep coming back to this, it seems pretty clear to me that their ultimate aim here was to clearly, eventually, if they could have gotten away with this, point the finger at gun dealers and point the finger at guns themselves and say, look what's happened. Look at, we lost guns over the border. Look what's happened, when this was actually a program that they conceived of and implemented.
Well, Congressman, again, I really appreciate you coming on the program. Do you expect to get a response at all from the Attorney General, either officially or unofficially?
Probably not. And if we don't, we're gonna try to communicate with the president. I truly believe if this were any other president or any other administration, the media in general would be all over this.
I agree.
This is just scandalous. And let's not forget that it resulted in the deaths of 2 federal agents. We will look into this as much as we can. It's great to be with you.
Well, thank you again, sir. Look forward to having you on again soon, and have a great evening, sir.
Anytime. You as well. Thanks.